Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Kick Off Your Damn Heels. I'm Dr. Teralyn, Functional Psychology Pro, and I am here today with Christina Hall, who is a wellness coach. So we're going to be talking about the connection between micronutrients and mental health, and this is something that's gaining a lot of traction. You hear about it a lot more, how nutrition impacts mental health, but we're going to specifically focus in on micronutrients. So she's going to describe what that is and why it's important. So welcome, Christina. Please let us know a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me on this podcast this morning.
Yes.
I really appreciate it. So I'm Christina Hall. I'm originally from Germany, and I got all started when I got sick with an autoimmune disease when I was 10, and that got me all started on a health journey.
At the age of 10, you started on a health journey?
Yeah.
That's incredible. I'm guessing that your parents were heavily involved in that, or was that mostly just you?
No, thank goodness it was my parents. My mom had a big impact on me, and that's how I got on the path of holistic health.
Very
And
nice.
About 4 years ago, I got certified as a wellness coach, and ever since I've been, eating out books, workshops, take courses on all the different topics out there.
Nice. And so when you talk about micronutrients, is that what helped you with your autoimmune?
Yes, all of them. I was on a different regimen since I was 10, basically. My mom tried many different things.
All right. So let's get started. How about we talk about what is a micronutrient? We're going to start with that.
Okay. So micronutrients are basically what the general public refers to: vitamins, minerals, all the essential amino acids, everything that your body needs nutrition-wise to function. And more specifically, not what your body needs, but what your cells need in your body.
All right. And so this is great because everybody knows I talk about amino acids all the darn time and nutrient cofactors that go with them. So everyone pay close attention to this podcast because we're going to get nitty gritty here. So when you talk about what the cells need, can you describe that in a greater detail for us?
So everybody knows what a cell looks like, right?
I don't know. Do they? I have no idea.
Well, let's get started.
All right.
We have like about 70, 80 billion cells in our bodies. So really a lot.
Yes.
And the real power plants, or where the energy comes from in our cells, is the mitochondria. And those are they're about 1,000 in each of our cells. And they produce all the energy. So if we don't have the energy, that's how, we're lacking everything. We're fatigued, brain fog, and all of that comes in. Well, that's usually how it starts out before we notice anything else.
Right.
So with the mitochondria, they need specific nutrition. And those nutrients, those are the micronutrients. They need that in a specific ratio every day, constantly, every second of the day. And if you don't give it to them, they cannot do their work. And when they can't do their work, everything else in our body cannot do their work either.
So you said there's like 1,000 mitochondria per one cell.
Yes.
And how many cells are there in the body, did you say?
About 80 billion.
Okay, times 1,000 mitochondria. That's a lot of things to go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, on a large scale, Yes. So this is why that's important. So you said the mitochondria are what gives the cell energy, right? Which in essence, then, if you have functioning energetic cells, you're going to be a functioning energetic person.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
And a lot of, that sounds great and all.
Does it? It sounds
amazing.
Yeah.
I know we can't see it, and that's the detrimental part, because if we can't see it, we don't know what's wrong. And there are definitely tests out there where you can check that, but I know a lot of doctors don't. I had it done once at a naturopath in Germany, and that was it. in like 20 years going from one doctor to the next. That was it. And with the cells, we only notice that something's wrong when about 70% of those cells in the mitochondria don't work anymore.
70%. So I went into psychology to avoid math. But that seems like a lot.
Yeah.
Like if 70% of your cells are not functioning, you are laid out. Like basically you're getting to that point where you are so unhealthy, right? So so because we don't usually seek help when we're feeling just kind of icky, right?
Exactly.
We seek help when we're feeling like extraordinarily fatigued or drained or that type of stuff. So by then, what you're saying is we are so depleted, like we're functioning at 30%, essentially.
Yeah.
All right. So if you were to get a lab done, like, can you explain what that would be and what that would show people?
So there are different lab tests that they can.
I should ask you first. Do you do the lab test part, or do you not? Oh, okay. So then we won't even go into that for you, because how would you determine then what someone would need?
I would definitely ask them to get some lab tests done for sure. No, because you want to have that the results there too, and for them, I feel like a lot of people want to see something on paper, before they believe anything you say.
No, I just want to say that I find that to be 100% true, because I can do checklists all day long of how you feel. But once we get a lab result on paper that shows something, now it's like, okay, this is actually real. It's not just a checklist that I did, you know? So I agree with that.
I do have to say there are definitely tests that you can do at home, like two, or at least one is to test your pH level to figure out where you're at. That's an easy test. So that's definitely one that I always recommend doing, to test that for at least a couple weeks on a consistent basis, and then see where that leads you, if they cannot go see a doctor or get that specific lab done.
Yeah, there are a lot of lab tests now that you can basically order yourself, right? So maybe you could let us know where you would typically direct somebody for a lab, and we can put that in the show notes. So you can tell us that later, and then I'll drop it in the show notes so everyone has access to that information. That would be great.
Yeah.
All right. So what type of micronutrients specifically are you looking for?
Yes. They're I love reading about it, and there are so many, and they all, function together. There's not just one single thing. I always get so frustrated when people come to me, oh yeah, I'm taking vitamin C. Oh yeah, I'm taking vitamin D. I'm like, that's not, that can't be it, because they don't function on their own. They always need something else. And again, you can think of the different vitamins in silos. So when vitamin C is depleted, that doesn't mean that vitamin D or magnesium is like at full level of that silo. It can be half full. And then when you up the vitamin C and that's full, then all those others don't function anymore. Like, they need to be upped all the time, all of them, not just one.
Optimized, yes.
So I'm looking for a lot of things. For me, it started when I first realized that I had mental things going on, is what when I was diagnosed with a deficiency in vitamin D and in vitamin B.
Okay. I want to reiterate this for people. You felt mental issues, emotional issues, when, I'm going to guess, more depressive type features.
Yeah.
Yep. When you found out then you were vitamin D and vitamin B deficient. Now, there's a lot of vitamin Bs, so basically you're deficient in a lot of areas, I'm guessing.
Yes.
But these are two biggies that I always tell my clients to look at, especially vitamin D, because not a lot of doctors will actually test your B vitamins, but they will do a vitamin D lab for you. So yeah, so go ahead.
So to the vitamin D importance, I wanna emphasize, because when I was diagnosed with vitamin D deficiency, I was living in Texas.
Sunny Texas.
Sunshine year round.
Mm-hmm.
And people couldn't believe it. So when I hear people, talk about, oh, I'm going out in the sun, I'm like, that's awesome. Oh, go do it. But that doesn't mean you're sufficient or it's enough what you do. So.
Well, and there's a lot of reasons behind that get very complicated. So we're not going to go into that part, but a super easy thing to think about, because actually I saw a study not so long ago that was even talking about a lot of Floridians. People from Florida are vitamin D deficient. Part of that, is body chemistry and how your genes work and methylation and all that stuff. The other part is we legitimately have been told to cover ourselves up when we go outside, from sunglasses to hats to shirts to everything. Don't get in the sun. And I don't know that that's an entirely accurate thing to say across the board, right?
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's a totally different subject.
It is, but important, because people are like, well, why would that be happening? If sun is so important for vitamin D. Well, a lot of it happens because of the way we cover ourselves. A portion of that anyway. There's more to it than that, but right. And what is the importance of vitamin D? Like, why is it important?
So vitamin D, the body cannot produce it on its own. You need the sun or an outside supplement to produce it. Mm-hmm. And again, with all the interdependency of the vitamins, it's an essential one. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have it, you're missing a big piece of, what your body needs.
Mm-hmm. So most of these micronutrients have what's called like a synergistic relationship with each other. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they like to behave in a group.
They do. They're team players.
They're team players. I like it.
Yeah, so yes, vitamin D, vitamin Bs, vitamin B1, vitamin B6, vitamin B12 are those really important ones. When I went to the doctor, they basically told me I need shots of vitamin B12 because I was out.
And when you did the shots, did it make you feel better?
It did. It took some time, no doubt about it. And that's the other thing, taking in those micronutrients, and it's a longer process than just taking a pill.
Did y'all hear that? Say that again.
It takes a while, and it depends, for everybody it's different. It's not, I can't say, oh, within a month you're going to be fine. Mm-hmm. For someone, it's going to take a week maybe, if they're lucky. For someone else, it's going to take 6 months or longer. It all depends where you're at and, what your body really needs and all the other factors in your life, stress, the outside forces, your living conditions, everything else.
Yeah. So, okay. So people want a quick fix is basically what you're saying, right? And so a lot of people turn to medication for the quick fix, but people need to also understand that it takes like 4 to 6 weeks to even make a clinical value of whatever prescription medication it is that you're taking. So even that is not quick. All right. But we've been conditioned to believe that it is, right? Mm-hmm. So you could probably gain benefit from those micronutrients, not to mention, and I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, prescription medications often deplete you in the micronutrients that you need. So even if you're taking a prescription, a good supplementation program is going to be very valuable to sustaining mental health.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's talk about some and I have to say, poor Christina, because I didn't give her any indication of what I was going to ask her. So she probably feels on blast a little bit, but I love this. I love this topic. It's something that I talk about all the time with my clients. But when you think about the mental health connection with micronutrients, like what, and I know it's different for everybody, but what kind of mental health symptoms do you see when someone is micronutrient deficient or not in synergy, right? In balance?
Yeah. Definitely one of the first ones is fatigue and feeling exhausted and drained.
And that goes back to that whole mitochondria conversation that you started with, right? Okay.
And then, mood swings. And then it's when the whole thinking process starts off, these negative thoughts creeping in. And it's for me, looking back, I know that I was in an early form of depression when I was in my teenage years, because I didn't see it back then. Nobody else saw it because I was a teenager, and secondly, I wasn't talking about it. Like, who's going to talk about how bad they feel and what they want to do? And,
especially when the rest of the world is looking like they don't feel bad,
Exactly. So it's hard, especially when you can't talk about it, but that's usually the progression of it, starting with, not feeling well, being exhausted, but no idea where it's coming from and why. And then you think about, oh, maybe I was doing, have too much stuff going on at work, or working out too much, or not getting enough sleep. That's the first thoughts that come in. But then if it progresses to all the negative stuff that is attached with it, like thoughts coming with it, you're not getting any, in a better mood with anything. You're losing having fun with things that you enjoy doing before. And that's usually the progression.
All right. So what I'm going to say here is I'm a therapist by trade. I'm also a nutritionist, but that's not a normal combination. So if you're listening and you're going to a therapist, partnering with a wellness coach or a nutrition coach is extremely important. It will help you fill in the gaps, because I say this all the time. Often it's not just a thinking problem, right? The head is connected to the body with this thing called a neck, and it's all connected, right? So partnering together with someone like Christina could actually really round out your mental health and make you feel better even faster. All right. So one or the other usually is not sufficient, but in combination is great. And here's where I tell people, like, you're your best advocate, because most therapists aren't trained to know this type of stuff, right? They're not trained to know that micronutrients might be the problem. So advocate for that, or tell your therapist you'd like to work with a wellness advocate. That's my soapbox for the day.
I like it.
Yeah, it's important. And I say this all the time. That's how I got into nutrition, because I felt like there's a complete missing component with mental health. And it can't just be your thoughts aren't right? You can't think your way out of a nutrient deficiency.
Yeah, that's difficult.
It's impossible. I can't make my mitochondria any more energetic with my thoughts.
Yeah. And definitely to your point, like, not only therapists, but any doctor, and I found that out just a few years ago, they have like 1 hour of nutrition in their training, like one course maybe, and that's it.
Right. Well, and okay, so not everybody is like me. Like, when I see like a gap or a hole in the system, like, I'm going to go fill that hole. I'm going to go get, but not everybody needs to do that, which is why partnering, having a health partnership is really important. Don't expect that your one provider is going to know everything. And I think that's where we are short short in the system. Like we expect a doctor to know everything and they don't, and that's okay. Then you find someone who does.
Yeah.
Right? You find someone that can fill in the gap and work together. So just kind of like the synergistic relationship between micronutrients.
There you go.
Yeah. We need a synergistic relationship between health providers, right?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. If you have just a couple of good suggestions for people to get started, what would you say they should do?
With vitamins specifically?
Sure.
Oh man, there are so many, and it all,
I know it's dependent on the lab test, but not everybody is going to want to take a lab or will be able to. So what do you think? Because our grocery store shelves and our everything is filled with all these vitamins. Like, what would you suggest would be a really good just bouncing off point?
Bouncing off point. Okay. Well, definitely vitamin D. It's that doesn't hurt.
Yes.
And a good combination of a good vitamin B complex, but I would take it in a multivitamin because of the synergistic effects. Another good one is omega-3s. Omega-3.
Oh, omega-3s? Okay. Yep.
There are so many studies out there that they pretty much compensate sugar, and sugar is in our diet like way too much everywhere. So, and then again, sugar is not good for the brain and all that stuff. So omega-3s are definitely high on my list. And something that is not, I guess, not really a micronutrient, but I'm a proponent of having a good gut relationship or a good relationship with your gut. So probiotics are definitely high on my list.
Okay. So a good synergistic multivitamin, which are kind of hard to find. So you're going to have to find one at a health food store that's got the B vitamins in it that you want. A vitamin D, an omega-3, and a probiotic.
Yeah.
Very, very sound advice. I might add in some magnesium just to top it off if you want to go that far.
Yes. I see the multivitamin I take, it has like all of that in there.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy man, that's amazing. That's really, because then if you can get one that's a really good one, you're not taking 16 different things.
Exactly. I know a lot of people, I don't want to take so many pills because then I can just pop one pill and be good,
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to guess then also working with someone like you on nutrition can be very helpful to fill in some of those micronutrient gaps as well.
Yes. And even like, we as wellness coaches, I assume I'm speaking for everybody else.
You're speaking for every wellness coach in the world.
Everyone.
Yeah.
But we all have our preferences when it comes to, micronutrients.
Yep.
But even you can ask us if you don't want to take what we take because of it's too expensive or whatever else it might be. We can help you figure out which one is a good one from the store or the health food store or wherever. So don't be scared to ask us.
No, that's a really valid point because I have my clients do that all the time. They'll be like, well, I take a multivitamin. I'm like, well, either bring it in or send me a shot of the ingredients on the back and we'll see how much you need to take of that one, or if maybe we should upgrade to something else when you're done with that one, So I try to kind of meet people where they are too. So you're right. Don't be afraid to ask. It's funny you say that because there's so many people that I see that are afraid to tell their doctors what supplements they're taking, for fear of like judgment or something, I find that fascinating too. But anyway, don't be afraid to tell your doctor what supplements you're taking. Yes. All right. So Christina, how can people get a hold of you?
I'm everywhere. I have email. I'm on every social media channel you can think of.
Nice.
I think you're going to put the handles in So it really anywhere, whatever is easiest for you, I'm there. All
right.
I have my phone with me every time. So
nice. So we'll put all of her social media handles in the show notes for you. And do you have a website too?
I'm in the middle of, I'm revamping it. It's
She's
not
revamping.
quite
Okay.
ready.
So that probably won't be in it. So, but I'm sure Facebook and Instagram. So you can find her there, and we will make sure that you have that information here. She will also have a blog post on drteralyn.com that will coincide with some of the things we touched on today. So feel free to head over there and get more information on micronutrients and mental health. And please don't be afraid to ask your doctor or collaborate with a health coach on micronutrients. It might just be what you need to support your system and feel better even faster. So I thank you so much, Christina, for being on the show. This is a topic that we don't discuss enough of. So hopefully we'll have you back in the future and dig in a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I would love that. Thank you so much for having me. Really enjoyed talking to you. Hopefully you all got something out of it. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions. If you have anything, it doesn't matter.
Sounds great. All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. Have a good one.
You too.